Janeway's a Cylon. Mike Westmore was a late scratch for this evening. Turned out he had a previous engagement that he had to be reminded of at the very, very last second. And those of us who have been married understand this completely. So it'll be a one-on-one tonight, and let me bring up now our guest, Ethan Phillips.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All I could think of while I was watching that was that little girl really needed Ambien or something. So ironic.
But who else than Neelix could have helped that little girl?
Don't know. Thanks for coming, guys.
Now, and we've discussed this already, I am fascinated by how actors develop their characters. It is a very spiritual process done properly. So before we talk about Neelix's reactions in this episode, let's go back. The first time you went in to read for Neelix, what did you think? What was your impression of the character? Was this a character that you really wanted to do?
Well, I'll be completely honest. I didn't know that he was an alien. I didn't know that they described him in the script as a humanoid, and I didn't really know a humanoid. I thought it was a human with like an oid or something. So for me, he was just a human, and so I played him as a human being. And he had a lot of colors to him, and he was an emotional guy with a kind of you could say an aggressive personality, but he was someone who wore his heart on his sleeve, and I could see that he was the kind of guy who was out there and not afraid of expressing his opinion. He was filled with a lot of love, I think, and a lot of joy, and very close to his emotions. And that was pretty apparent in the original sides that they had me read. And it wasn't until later. Actually, it wasn't until the final audition, just when I was about to go into the room. I remember sitting in the chair, and it was down between me and another gentleman from England, a wonderful actor, and he had gone in already, and then I was going to go in, and the woman sitting next to me, who was up for the part of Janeway, I remember it was between her and a couple of people, including Kate Mulgrew at the time, although they gave it to Jean-Pierre Bouchot. She said, by the way, have you seen any pictures of your character, Neelix? I said, no, what do you mean? He said, well, he looks just like a hedgehog. The second after she said that to me, they said, Miss Phillips, you're next. And so I walked in the room with that image in my mind. But I still played him just as a human being. And the interesting thing is about acting. I'll tell you a story. I was cast many years ago as the little monk in a play called Galileo by Bertolt Brecht. And so I was thinking, oh, the little monk. So I spent a long time keeping my hands folded in front of me and trying to look pious and everything like that. And until I saw the costume. And the costume was a monk's outfit. And I realized I don't have to do anything. The outfit does everything for me. I can do cartwheels, and they're still going to think I'm a monk. And that's essentially what happened with Neelix. I didn't have to play an alien. The makeup and the costumes and the lighting and the situations and the very story itself supplied all that. That did all my work for me. I was just left with the task of playing the truth of the character and in the scenes. So that was a kind of the little monk thing was a very important revelation for me as an actor. You don't really have to do a lot of work. There's a lot of other forces coming in and shaping the character. Your responsibility as an actor is just to play the truth of the scene and try not to the best of your ability, look like you're faking it. And we all play just parts of ourselves. So I mean, I can't. There are certain actors. I can think of Alec Guinness, Meryl Streep, some others who are blessed with an extraordinary gift to be chameleons. And I have that gift to a certain degree, but it's not. I'm more close to who I am, and I play who I am through the character. I don't, what's the word, morph as much as some other actors do. Cary Grant never morphed. Jimmy Stewart never morphed. They all played themselves. But within the situation, they all seem to be different. So yeah, that was kind of my approach. It's just like any character. Just how do I play this guy's truth? If he has an Irish accent, okay, that's something I can lay over. You know, does he have a limp? You know, was he abused as a child, so he has an innate anger? You know, what's going on? All those are just conditions you think about. But the main thing is you're just a kid. I mean, that's all actors are. They never stop pretending. I mean, when you played cowboys and Indians as a child, the actors never stopped doing that. They loved it so. I mean, I love playing cowboys and Indians. When I got shot as a cowboy when I was like 7 years old, it was to me the coolest thing in the world. I was dead. I lay on the street for hours. Because I was so into it, and I never lost that joy of pretending. And that's really all it is. You want to just pretend as well as you can. So that's kind of it, you know.
What are there aspects of the character? You say that you're playing yourself and you're projecting aspects of yourself. Were there aspects of Neelix that you had to sort of fight that were really, contrary to who you were?
No, I really related to Neelix. I felt that I could pretty much wrap myself around all of his emotions. And I don't think there's ever, in any character, elements that you fight. You have to embrace them. Even if you're playing Richard III or the worst villain in the world, you try to get into their psyche and see, well, what's their motivation for being this way? And you really have to love everybody you play, or else you can't really play it well, I did early on attempt to make him quote unquote alien. I would do a variety of different things, but they were always nixed by the producers. I remember the first time he ate, they handed me a bowl of potatoes, and I tried to just eat it with my tongue. That's the way aliens do it. They go, well, no, not on this ship. Some other show, yeah. And in a funny way, Neelix turned out to be the most human of the crew.
Yes.
He revealed his emotions more than I think a lot of people did.
I think dealing with Seven and the Doctor, in a lot of ways, I think that they, in their struggles to be human, whether they would admit it or not, I think that a lot of what Neelix reflected back to them was very instructive. A lot of people in the crew there who were attempting to find their humanity, and Neelix in a lot of ways was the model for that. Completely non-human. There's no human DNA in his body at all. Yeah, I think in a lot of ways, as you pointed out, he was the most human.
Yeah, and they were pretty consistent in the episodes where you saw Talaxians. I think there were 4 or 5 of them. They were all drawn that way, being very exuberant, emotional race, hungry for sensation, and pleasure, and truth. They were all pretty much pronounced in that way. Mm-hmm. They're not, they don't play it close to the cuff, those guys. No. Talaxians are out front.
Yeah.
You know where you stand with Talaxians.
Yes, you do.
There's no wondering about where you stand with that. So let's go now to Mortal Coil. It's midway through the 4th season, so it's almost literally right at the midpoint of the series.
Yes.
Neelix has developed tremendously beyond what we first see in Caretaker. And we've already had Chitrell, which was a very pivotal episode. So we come down to Mortal Coil, and we see Neelix wrestling with something that I think we fear greatly, which is, what if everything I know is wrong? What if